I mean, Shedeur has had Pat Shurmur as his offensive coordinator for a long time. He's had his dad, Deion Sanders, as his head coach for a long time. They've all been speaking a certain language for a long period of time.
People try to make football complicated. You run the ball, they stack the box. Now you throw the ball. Once they do that, now they spread out. Now we running RPOs. We got a quarterback with legs. Now we're going to let him use his legs. So now we got to get to the point where we're playing chess with teams, you know?
Is you had nothing but time to prepare for this game and dial up some plays with an unlimited amount of playmakers.
Yo, watch football. Now, I know there was no NFL this weekend, and we haven't really heard a lot from Shedeur Sanders, except, actually, I'm about to put this funny thing right on your screen. But I just think it's funny, and I think it really displays, like, who Shedeur is. Like, I don't know. I think this really makes people upset. But obviously, you know, Shiloh was waived, and he got fined. You know, that whole situation, getting ejected. Colorado loses. Shedeur had himself a rough week. He says, as Sanders men, we have to regroup. And this is like, you know, everybody could be mad. Everybody could be yelling. Somebody could be, oh my God, everything's falling apart. You know, for a world that calls Shedeur Sanders entitled, for a world that calls Shedeur Sanders all the things in the book that y'all want to call black boys. I mean, let's just be honest with it. The problem is Shedeur doesn't fit the narrative. And that's been my issue this entire time. Shedeur is he's self-deprecating. He don't take himself that seriously. He tries to joke around and just be lighthearted, right? This is some serious, like everybody else is, and you see, that's why the Sanders name is so bad. Deion is this is that. Everybody has everything to say about Shedeur and said, you know what Shedeur said? Hey man, we gotta regroup, man. We gotta come back. He's not complaining. He's not saying, oh my God. No, man. It is what it is. So I want to go back in time because this Colorado game that just happened, we watched it live. One of the bigger things we talked about, especially in that last 2 minutes, was the terrible play calling from Pat Shurmur. And, you know, throughout this whole draft process, throughout the Browns process, and the Browns saying that, hey, Shedeur is a little behind or yada, yada, yada. Everybody wanted to say, oh, well, Shedeur clearly just he just can't read. That's what it is, right? It probably has nothing to do with his offensive coordinator. Like I told you, it would have to do with Jackson Dart. It would have to do with every other. Hey, your offensive coordinator is going to have a large, significant role in how you matriculate and mature into an offense. That's why Tennessee quarterbacks struggle. That's why Ole Miss quarterbacks struggle, because the offensive systems are not pro style. Okay? And you give Shedeur Sanders, who had, by the way, 2 different offensive coordinators back-to-back years, in both years at Colorado, 2 completely different coordinators, end up throwing for 4,000 yards. He didn't like the 2023 year, came back with Pat Shurmur, did what they need to do. Threw for 4,000 yards, Johnny Unitas winner, 9-4, first bowl game, yada, yada, yada. You've heard it before. Number 1 in FBS and completion percentage in all college football, right? Well, this Saturday, we saw a Colorado team that looked pretty formidable. A Colorado team that, since we've been documenting through this offseason, has been loaded and reloaded with some interesting transfer pieces. Some rookies that got some burn. Shout out Quentin Gibson, right? Shout out to the defensive tackle, the true freshman that started. He's a 4-star. I didn't even know he was going to start. I didn't hear anything about him. But everybody had to say, yo, that play calling.
This is what has me really fired up tonight. Is you had nothing but time to prepare for this game and dial up some plays with an unlimited amount of playmakers. And you didn't do it. You didn't do anything that made me say, there we go. That's getting Omarion involved.
Right.
It's a whole shot against cover 2. 1 catch for 39 yards.
Yep.
You didn't say, okay, let's let Caden air the ball out. The one time he aired the ball out was Sincere Brown on a scramble. The one time he aired the ball out after that was Draylon Miller in a prayer at the end of the game.
Yep.
Where was the game plan that said, let's get our playmakers involved?
So that was something, again, this is not me. These are obviously that is the wonderful people at the pregame show. And then how about somebody at the show? I mean at the game.
They gotta stop running inside zone up the fucking gut. Run some mesh over the middle. Run some triple options. Run literally anything except for inside zone and all curl. And I swear to God, you're gonna make some plays on this defense.
This is some dude.
When they know exactly what's coming, you can't run the same shit over and over and over. Pat Shurmur is so bad at the shot.
So again, I want to lay this out. How did Seton feel about the whole situation?
Just run the football.
Yeah, we're going to establish the run game. I think people try to make football complicated. You run the ball, they stack the box. Now you throw the ball. Once they do that, now they spread out. Now we running RPOs. We got a quarterback with legs. Now we're going to let him use his legs. So now we got to get to the point where we're playing chess with teams, you know? And I think establishing a run will help, you know, the pass, the RPOs, the quick plays. It'll help everything.
And this is a second year, right? He was a freshman All-American. He's looked to be a number or a first round pick, you know, for all the people who say, you know, Colorado produce NFL talent. That's Jordan Seton. So he is basically, in so many words, calling out Pat Shurmur for something that you know what he also did last year? He had the worst running attack in all of college football. Every 134 FBS teams, they had the worst rushing attack. It wasn't just because of a bad offensive line. Offensive line wasn't great, but how do you get creative and help your running game? There was none of that. That is for someone who watched a lot of Colorado games, my issue is not that Pat Shurmur always calls bad plays. It's that he doesn't even try to experience. It feels like he has 5 plays he likes, and then that's it. And then his big play, oh, well, it's 3rd and 10, so I gotta call something now. It's like, no. You need to set the pace of the team. Y'all try to do that double pass. One of the only touches Joseph Williams got was for a double pass. Y'all did do that RPO, got Caden off the edge. Good things happen. You got Zach Atkins involved. Good things happen, right? And I'm saying all of this to say that guess what they were saying about Shedeur? This is August 25th. Remember, very recently, this morning, Darrell Reuter reported that Shedeur Sanders never learned a playbook in his life until now. I hadn't heard this before. Where was this info before the draft? And this is my issue. Where was this before the draft? If y'all said, hey, Shedeur Sanders just can't read defenses, and y'all said that from January when that anonymous quote came out, and y'all saying it after he dropped to the 5th, and y'all saying it when he was a 3rd-round quarterback, that's okay. I could believe that. That's something. But you're telling me all of a sudden he can't read a defense? I don't think that's what it is. Darrell Reuter said people need to understand Shedeur is being asked to do a lot of stuff that he's never been asked to do before, learning a playbook, understanding and picking apart defenses and stuff like that. There's a process that comes with that. I think he might have misspoke because I think Andrew Berry puts it a lot better. Because Andrew Berry he's given Shedeur the most, credit. You're right. Andrew Berry says on the Browns broadcast of Shedeur, he's going from a college offensive system where imagine you were fluent in English and now you have to learn Mandarin, right? So Andrew Berry said the equivalent of what Shedeur is going through right now is like knowing English and having to learn Mandarin. I just don't see how a former NFL head coach and Pat Shurmur and Deion Sanders would have such a simplistic system that he would be as unprepared as they say he is. So I want to point something out really quick, like want to point something out. Now, I don't know if you see what's over my left shoulder, but I have this is from 4 years ago. This was Pat Shurmur's history as an offensive coordinator, the offenses he led, right, throughout the years in the NFL, more importantly, before he made the jump. Right? This is a Denver Broncos fan. Okay? And you know, we heard all that. Hey, remember, anonymous head coach, worst former interview. I want y'all to remember all of those things that were being said. Remember that Pat Shurmur was the last offensive coordinator. He threw for 4,000 yards. He was the Johnny Unitas Golden Arm winner. He did it with an offensive coordinator with this record. Pat Shurmur's history of play calling analysis. I did some analysis months ago on this that I left in a comment section, but someone had the idea to post this in full to let us all vent about this idiot. Wow. So thank you for the great idea, whoever that was. In the graph below is Shurmur's NFL history of being an offensive coordinator or head coach, i.e. play caller. The 3 stats I want to use for this are points for, total yards, and passing touchdowns. Last time I looked at this, I just did the first 2, but today I noticed how bad his offenses have been in the terms of passing touchdowns. Granted, passing touchdowns can be very misleading, but I wanted to put them in as they seem to be a terrible trend that is a cornerstone of Pat Shurmur's offenses. So pass touchdowns, like he said, that's the one that is, you know, ranks the least. Since Rams offensive coordinator to Browns OC, Eagles OC, Vikings interim OC, and then Vikings OC again, Giants head coach, and then finally Broncos, where apparently he did his most damage. So it goes 29th, 25th, 27th, 28th, 5th with the Eagles in 2013. That's not Michael Vick, is it? Is that Michael Vick year? I think Michael Vick was out, brother. I'm getting my years mixed up. But okay, not bad. 5th, 12th, 20th, 21st, 12th, 21st, 5th. Okay, not bad. On the Giants, that's actually insane. 25th and 18th. Okay, how about total yards? 29th, 26th, 29th, 25th, 2nd. That Eagles team, hey, that Eagles squad, that's a good squad. Both of these 2 years, hey, these are 2 good years. But after that, 12th, 28th, 11th, 17th, 23rd, 18th. Mid. Just mid. We can call it mid. Points were ranked 32nd, 26th, 30th, 24th, 4th. Again, hey, those 2 years, those are some nasty years now. 13th, 23rd, 10th, 16th, 18th, 28th, and 23rd. So it seems like the Colorado Buffaloes got him in his mid era. Like this right here, this was the Pat Shurmur. This was, I think, the Pat Shurmur people are thinking about when they say offensive coordinator. I think they're thinking of 2012 through 2015, when in this span he either mid-tier to top-tier offenses, right? Now you have another, top-ish and then another decent year, but then at this point you get a lot of variation, and now you're a middling offensive coordinator in the NFL that was so middling that Denver Broncos fans themselves came out and said how bad the play calling was. So I want to put that into perspective. I want to put that in perspective. So when people say things like this, I tried to tell you, bro, it was street ball. He never had real coaching. He was enabled by his father, and they schemed it so he could run around. They got Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn, and it saved him. Wait. See, and this is how I know who watches football, who does it. Jimmy Horn, the same Jimmy Horn that was injured for a majority of the season last season. That's the Jimmy Horn that he threw 4,000 yards to? Come on, man. If you would have said LeJontay Wester, who was the second leading wide receiver, I would have believed you. I would have believed that you actually watch football. But my problem is when I make these videos and I see people comment and I see people jump up and down about how terrible Shedeur Sanders is, I'm like, do y'all watch football? Or do you look at Shedeur as somebody who you don't want in football? Because that's what I've been watching since Cam Newton, since Lamar Jackson, since any single black quarterback that's boisterous trying to break the mold of what a traditional quarterback should look, talk, and walk like. It's pushback. It's a fraternity of good old boys who want you, even if, again, this is not, I want to stress this, it's not about just race. Because, Cam Ward, Vince Young, Randall Cunningham, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, they fit certain molds. They don't shake the tree. They're not outspoken. They're not as lackadaisical and calm as Shedeur. Maybe not as to himself as Lamar Jackson. They tried to call him a running back. Y'all forgot that? That man had to win 2 MVPs and have 5 MVP seasons. And y'all was sitting here talking about, maybe if he learns to throw the ball. He was throwing the ball at Louisville. Oh, well, I'm happy Shedeur Sanders finally got humble. You didn't even listen to any of the post-game conferences, did you? Oh man, Shedeur Sanders has been babied by NFL offensive coordinators. This NFL offensive coordinator, in which he had 2 different offensive coordinators in back-to-back years. If that happened to anybody else, y'all be sucking him off. You know why I know that? Mary Kay, go ahead, let him know, Mary Kay. Where you at, Mary Kay? Do I have that Mary Kay video here? I got that Mary Kay video. It's one of my favorites where she just lies. Here it is. How about it? How about it?
Have a tendency to look good. But then you've got 2 rookies who have also played a lot of ball. I mean, you've got Dylan Gabriel, who is very smooth and efficient. And I thought he was that way with the pre-snap stuff, even in rookie camp. He just had an unbelievable command of that kind of stuff. So I think that's going to be important. And we're going to have to see, can Shedeur handle all of that stuff while learning a whole new scheme? These other guys have all had to pick up new terminology and new schemes very, very quickly. They've had to adapt and pivot to different coordinators. I mean, Shedeur has had Pat Shurmur as his offensive coordinator for a long time. He's had his dad, Deion Sanders, as his head coach for a long time. They've all been speaking a certain language for a long period of time. So he is almost an old dog learning new tricks for the first time, whereas all of the other guys are very used to change.
And again, look, I'm okay with you not liking Shedeur. I'm okay with you thinking that he drifts in the pocket too much or this or that. But when you just lie and you just say that he's had Pat Shurmur for forever, it's just not the case. When you lie and say he can't read defenses, they got Travis Hunter and Jimmy Horn. Like, do people watch football? Y'all make Twitter accounts and y'all make rage bait comments about Shedeur because y'all know he's popular. Dog, I could turn my channel into a Shedeur hate page. I guarantee you, my numbers, they would run back up. And I mean run back up, like, because Shedeur fans are gonna, if I would do that, they would leave, and then, you know, the Shedeur haters would come in. I could run it up and I could just say Shedeur's terrible, he's this, he's that, whatever. Man, it's really tough. It's really tough when you lay out everything. When you lay out everything, it looks like Shedeur Sanders was fighting through multiple offensive coordinators, and one in which, after one game, people are already calling for his head. But hey, y'all let me know how y'all feel about that. I will leave you with these words of wisdoms from a very, very entitled young man. Let's hear it.
Best teammate and to be as polished as I can be. So, in every aspect, I view things as I got time. I got time to be able to grow and mature, you know, and be able to understand the ins and outs of the defenses and be able to get the good insight from the vets in the room. So I look at it as, you know, a plus. Like, I got time to actually be able to really have a great understanding. And whenever, you know, it's time for me to play, then it's time for me to play. But I'm not looking too far in the future about all that. I'm looking about every day in practice, because I had some misses out there today that, you know, we got to go in there and correct, about Reeves getting in and out drops a little bit faster from under center. So that's the main thing. I'm focused on the small things, and over time the big things will happen.
So Shedeur is, I want y'all to be reminded, he is very much, you know, in his own driver's seat, running his own race, taking his time. So I think grace needs to be afforded to him, you know, even though some people won't give it to him. And I think, you know, we also need to understand he's a grown adult and he's going to find it his own way. You feel me? But interesting to see that, you know, one day without Shedeur Sanders under the helm, a lot of people saying a lot of different things. And when you really get deeper into who the offensive coordinator was Deion helping him? Was it just because, just to make it easier for Shedeur? If that's the case, why you're not going to do it for Caden Salter, who is supposed to be more mobile than Shedeur? Okay. Y'all let me know how y'all feel below in the comments. Like the video if you like it, dislike if you don't, subscribe if you like football content. Fun day of college football. We got some memes coming out, different things coming out. It's been a great time, man. Y'all be great. You be phenomenal. See you next time. Peace.